Being a da'i is an incredibly noble and virtuous role to take on. It is what the elite of humanity, the prophets, peace be upon them, were engaged in during their lives. So those that live after them should try to emulate them and attempt to live according to their high standards. Sadly, we are seeing a lot of our callers to Islam falling way short of those standards. Here are some areas where da'is fall short today. Ending dawah conversations in the ring. Prominent Islamic figures who claim to be a voice for the Muslim community have recently adopted new tactics to share Islam with others, which involves physical altercations. One of the challenges of online interactions is the increased amount of trolls, lewd, and inappropriate comments. Unfortunately, rather than ending conversations in a dignified manner, many da'is seem adamant on continuing their engagement with well-known ignorant and bigoted individuals. As we see commonly on platforms such as Twitter, following a common back and forth, what once used to be an invitation is leading to discussions to be settled in the ring. If one is claiming to follow the pious predecessors within Islam, then the suggestion of a physical altercation is certainly questionable. Callers to Islam will naturally become role models for the youth within the Muslim community, and greater consideration should be given to the message being sent to the youth. After all, da'is should be communicating with an invitation only, and focus should be given on distancing oneself from the ignorant if they're not interested in the message of Islam. The younger generation of Muslims should be coached with walking away after a dawah conversation, rather than encouraged to score points in a misguided application of manliness. Hear my story. With an increasing number of preachers to Islam coming from a revert background, becoming practicing once again, we see such figures all too eager to share their story. Speeches on transferring from darkness to light have become all too common, where listeners get to discover about the wicked days of ignorance, like a badge of honor. Tours with all expenses covered and VIP treatment are held on the back of such sins. In contrast, we view the lives of early Muslims who reverted to Islam, shedding tears over their sins, and remained in hope of the Almighty's forgiveness for their evil ways. Certainly, they did not repeatedly open up on their past sins, post pictures on their social media pages regarding this, or make a full-time living on the back of their sins. Support me. Perhaps one of the major problems is the persistent demands for money from so-called carriers of Islam. Whilst there's a greater need for high-quality video production due to the increased attachment to technological devices, this shouldn't provide a license for individuals that wish to serve Islam to making requests for money. In such instances, one does not become a blessing for the community, but burden. And this is not what we find from the previous generations of Muslims. Sure, to fund large projects such as constructing a mosque or Islamic center, this is unlikely to be self-funded. However, those who wish to serve Islam must strive to fund many of their preaching efforts via themselves in order to sacrifice their time and wealth. For this, it could be that certain sacrifices are required within their own lifestyle. Extra hours are worked, etc. in order to fund small-scale Islamic projects. Join my course. An incredibly disheartening sight is the promotion of empowerment and financial freedom courses by preachers to Islam. Using their influence as a trusted figure, courses are being sold as a guru to help transform your life for the better. One former client of this so-called preacher to Islam shares their story with us. I signed up to their course in order to achieve financial freedom. This individual was involved in inviting others to Islam, and therefore would seem as a trusted figure. In their marketing, they would present themselves as a pious figure, so I felt my money would be safe. There's lots of other gurus out there, but given that this individual was involved in Islamic work, I assumed he would be trusted. However, there were many problems when I signed up on his course. I expected to get golden nuggets and tricks to really help me succeed in business and obtain what I paid a lot of money for. But the business advice was very basic. Optimizing ad performance on Facebook, using keywords included some of the information given, all of which can be easily found on the internet for free. I didn't feel like I got value for money, and I certainly didn't get the financial results I was looking for. As promised by the individual, I would receive a refund if I wasn't happy with the service, which I was not. However, rather than accepting the poor service and advice offered, the individual first refused to return the full amount I invested, and later refused to refund even some of my investment as he promised. I was subsequently blocked from communication, with his last message being, "That's all you're getting." But even that wasn't returned to me. My message to this da'i is, you can run away from me, but how will you run away from Allah?